Copenhagen Flames. Interesting to say the least. Finest themselves, they've had a couple of changes here and there over their time, but I've got to say I'm a big fan of this Finest roster. I've been a big fan of Anarchist individually for a long, long time. He's brought some seriously solid performances, and we're just about to get things underway in towards our first round here momentarily. Of course, for Finest, this one is going to be an interesting performance. I think they have been at times that a little bit inconsistent for me. I don't know if you'd agree. And it's hoping whether they can now find that consistency against what is a new ECSTATIC squad.
Yeah, by the looks of things, we're just going to be heading into the action very, very shortly here. I think everyone had readied up. We are literally just waiting for the sides to switch. And then here we go. Should be into the action in just a moment from now. Neo, one more thing to ask you. Predictions. Who's winning? Who's losing?
I'm going to lead in favor of Finest taking this one. That's my slight leanings, just because I think this ECSTATIC team, a little bit new, a little bit raw. I think they've still got a few things to iron out. I'm going to lean just in favor of Finest. Who are you going for?
I'm doing the same. I think Finest definitely have the better odds of winning this matchup. ECSTATIC have got some really good firepower, but we're not quite convinced that this ECSTATIC side can live up to the previous name. So we'll have to wait and see. It's more Vertigo here on the mainstream. And of course, for anyone at home wondering, why is it Vertigo? ECSTATIC have won this map 4 out of 5 times. Finest have won this 10 out of 11 times, and already orchestrating exactly why. Twist has found the opening.
Manx for the trade, a double down. In fact, EcstKreaz will fall. Great openers over towards the B side. Do they clear back pillar though?
They've got to check for it. Indeed they will. Cabbi, very nice shot. Plessen drops the bomb. And actually, ECSTATIC doing very well to maintain the pistol. Plessen, really nice shot. 2 more to go though. And into the Glocks they walk, and Breezer will have them dead to right. ECSTATIC win the pistol.
Good start for the T-side. Aggression. The Manx double opener as well is wonderful to give them a bit of space and a bit of breathing room to come forward, and it works a treat on that T-side. Building up a lead, building up a little bit of comfortability is a real positive form. And of course, now it's a question of how far can ECSTATIC keep this ball rolling. For Finest, not going to be much of an investment. We know that. For them, losing that sort of round in that sort of fashion means that their economy is lackluster. They want to stick around that 2K mark, so it's more or less a full eco. Apart from Plessen's got a deep.
Nicely done. Reading into the boost quite easily there. Manx finding the first and a second as well. Mac 10 making some serious dollars so far here for the ECSTATIC side. Nade is going to be on the shallower side than what I had expected. Shocks getting away with 2/3 of his HP. Still plenty of chances here though for Finest maybe to do some damage, especially in the next round where they're going to have those premium CT weapons. This one kind of expected to be going the way of ECSTATIC here. A minute on the clock. The bomb is going to make its way forward. Kraghen should be able to set it down. And with that, ultimately, the round in favor of ECSTATIC. A pretty solid start here, Neo. I'm convinced that ECSTATIC looking good out of the gate. We know at least the name of ECSTATIC have been notoriously good on this map. Looking to uphold the same kind of success here, though, in this second.
Manx will find 1 more to his tally. Not really too much of an important kill now. Anarchy is the only one left alive. I think the biggest thing for Anarchy is staying alive, just to not give any cash across. Just to not allow these Mac 10s to build up a little bit more of an economy in their favor. Doesn't matter. Queenix will find 1 more. Things looking very good for ECSTATIC, as you mentioned. On their side, pretty confident. 2-0. But this is the true test. Finest full buy. That was just a full eco. Aside from Plessen picking himself up a deagle, didn't make too much of a difference. Now we can see what the CT side of Finest can bring to the table. And that's, of course, where you'd hope for a side to build up a little bit of a lead, build up some momentum. And they need to do it early doors, because for ECSTATIC, this is essentially just a bonus round.
See if they can rake in some extra cash. Plessen going to set the tone quite early here, though, for Finest. Getting that man advantage, killing off Cabbi, who tries to go for the early lane control. 5v4 in favor of the CT side. ECSTATIC now, well, they've got some rethinking to do, because of course it is their bonus, as you said, Neo. It is, you know, very much a round that they can afford to invest in the next. Any damage here would be looking good, and so far so good for ECSTATIC. 2 kills to their name already, to a very hit and miss economy here for Finest. Definitely is going to cause some structural damage. For now, don't think it matters too much though, because they're focused on getting the first round, and by the looks of things, that is going to be confirmed. With the bomb dropped from Breezer, it's Queenix against 3.
1 versus 3, as you mentioned, can't expect too much. Surely this one's done momentarily, and there's Kreaz full blind through the smoke, doesn't matter. Finds the kill, and there's the first round for Finest. There's a little bit of kind of breathing room in terms of, you know, that was just a bonus for ECSTATIC, but for them to walk away with 2 kills actually is pretty decent. It's really not that bad when you consider that the majority of them had Mac 10s into that sort of round. So 2 kills, not the end of the world, but again, now, full buy from both sides. Both sides still limited in what their long-term economy has to bring to the table, especially for ECSTATIC, who are left with, for the most part, $0, $100, or $200.
I mean, both teams have really dug deep in their pockets, right, to try and provide a decent investment here. No questions asked that we need to see who gets the man up, and in this round, PlesseN will deliver exactly that. Really nicely done that Finest just orchestrating this control, you know, really putting their foot down, pressuring the side of ECSTATIC, forcing them to make mistakes. It's CSGO in this round again that gets dropped early on. And Finest, they're not happy with just this man advantage. And Arquez wants an even deeper read into the ECSTATIC investment. And he himself has all of this ramp control, which leaves Twist with a very easy job of screaming for help on B. And ultimately, the boost coming up. Mankz, oh my word, Mankz has taken so much damage to this molly. PlesseN could be ready to mop up a couple of kills. Oh, PlesseN with 3. It's a lights-out performance of 4K in the round. Kraghen against the lot. It is so much to ask for, and Finest seems to be turning up in spades because they've got themselves a 1v5, and an Arquez should be able to have the last in his sights. It is through the smoke at the end that he finds it. Kraghen gone. Finest flawless at making it 2-all.
Too soon, as you mentioned, that round was so important in terms of early doors momentum. Both of the sides, as you had mentioned, Retro, had dug deep into their pockets. The investment was full, which meant that loser off was going to end up in an eco situation. And unfortunately, if you're an ECSTATIC fan, that's them. They're left with not much in the bank to work with here. They're actually going to go for not an investment at all. Not a single flash upgrade or even a little bit of armor. They're going for the full Glocks. And the priority in this round is a bomb plant.
As you said, anything here to get the financial benefits of an eco would be ideal for them. Great HE to start things off. Breeze it down to 5 points of health. CSGO tagged up a little bit as well. Doesn't really matter because we've got 3 AKs on the CT side. So the argument of the one-shot headshot for the counter-terrorist isn't something that we'll divulge into too much. 1 kill. Kraghen's able to find it, but it's an M4 masterclass from Kreaz against the pistols. It's pretty promising. Finest, they have the lead. It's 3-2.
And just to touch on another side of the CSGO going on right now, if you are not a fan of the UK CS, you might not recognize this team, but OnePin have just taken down Source 16-14. It went down to the wire.
Yeah.
But UK CS keeps on thriving. OnePin, due to that next stage. And someone even called that an upset, but I always believe in OnePin.
Oh, of course you did, mate. Of course you did.
Big fan.
Second round of matchups going on right now as well, so make sure to check out HLTV if you want any coverage. And speaking of, oh my good God, PlesseN, how much damage does this man want to do on ramp? And furthermore, how much do ECSTATIC want to give away at the early stages? It's another early exit for CSGO, and Kraghen follows suit as well. Finest with a 2-man advantage. And now the money starts to look good for that CT side, especially if they win this round.
Anik is holding a range. He's expecting a bit of aggression, and there it is. Mankz overextends, and Anik is the stoic god, remains still, and it nets him an easy kill here to bring it down to a 2 versus 5, and he doubles it. Brilliant. Anik is lightning fast. As Breezes left all alone.
At least he can get the bomb, but against all 5 players of Finest, who are at large very aggressive, it was always going to be a difficult one. Finest 4-2, little to no respect shown for the Swedish court over on the CT side. ECSTATIC just getting pushed down completely. And now forced back down to pistols here. It's 3 AKs, an M4, and an AWP. And Arquez wielding the big green, of course, for the rest of ECSTATIC. It is merely a pick and mix of pistols and a fair few HEs to see if they can catch one of these Finest players. I'm guessing in aggression early on.
Quick towards ramp. Breezer for the first ball blind. Doesn't even realize he gets the kill. The job's PlesseN looking for more, but he won't be denied. Or he will be denied, may I say, out just one. Kreaz M4 LNS reigns off.
Oh, okay. Nice shot. Really nice from ECSTATIC, picking up a fair few kills. Queenix! 2 bullets left in the magazine. and he will indeed connect both. Shox walks into the AWP of Cabbi, and an eco upset, 3 survive. ECSTATIC will find a third.
Whoa. ECSTATIC from nothing have made and salvaged something. They managed to pick him around and started off with a P250 full blind. Didn't even realize he got the kill. What he finds nonetheless, and Queenix, stunning showing from him. And when you look towards this side of ECSTATIC, it's new, it's fresh. There's a couple of young faces and a couple of new names, and Queenix is one of those ones you have to keep an eye on. Him and Cabbi, for me, are at times the two shining lights. And of course, Queenix showing why.
Doing really well so far here, both sides. Finest have been pretty definitive on the ramp control, but ECSTATIC seems to find weakness towards B. Twist, good for the first. Caught blind, has to switch to the pistol. Will indeed take the fight to Cabbi. Will not beat the AK when he's only got that USP. Nice shot from Manx, makes it a transfer. Brilliantly done. ECSTATIC now in a 4 versus 1, and Arquez with the AWP will be running for the hills to try and save that weapon. Brilliant performance so far here for ECSTATIC. They bring back the numbers level.
Bomb down, and of course, in this situation, you can talk about a post-bomb, it doesn't matter. Anik is the priority. He's just keeping hold of that big green. He cannot afford to let this one slip. I mean, he does have economy to work with, so he can buy one again, but he will fall nonetheless. The big thing would have been to try and keep that one in play. Not going to happen at all. As you mentioned, all time square. 4 rounds apiece. We've got back-to-back games with even scorelines thus far. And of course, for those who don't know, the run of show for us today is we had our first best of one of the day. This is the second best of one, and we have a best of 3 afterwards to see who qualifies for an all elusive spots towards the qualifier and who gets himself a one-way ticket, or well, hopefully for them, of course, to Malta.
Indeed, to that RMR. That's what everyone will be looking to put down. Oh, and Arquez legged up. Fires one back through the smoke. Won't quite have the same effect to Breezer. He has to move away with the big green. For the rest of Finest, I guess for them now, it is just as easy as trying to find a way back in. Spotting the boost. Shox alert. Very alert in middle. Low HP for Manx, but he does escape with the trade. And that in turn leaves things into a 4 versus 4. Still chances for Finest to get back into the swing. The ramp pressure here from Kreaz. Easy pick up to Cabbi. Sending him out solo was a little bit risky here for ECSTATIC, and they will pay the price.
And they have, of course, look, numbers not looking favourable for ECSTATIC. They're still trying to get this ramp control, and they're struggling to do so. The AWP of Breezer holding and waiting, won't find too much. He'll be greeted with too much as Anakiz will make his way back in towards mid. Similarly, again, no one really in his near vicinity. I think ECSTATIC, they're just going to slow down this tempo, try and find something to work with.
It's been minimized to a grinding halt here for ECSTATIC. Rethinking what they want to be doing here. Round number 9. Finest do have an advantage. The AWP getting switched over to Manx. Don't particularly see him using the AWP all too much, so
very true.
Goodness knows what's going to happen. Maybe we have an AWPer in the making on the ECSTATIC side. Breezer will open things up though. Really nicely done. The man that conventionally has the big green. Doing very well to find the first. Lots of damage done. Bomb plant will actually come through. Twist going to be met with some resistance here. Breezer still tapping away. Queenix now left in the 1 versus 2. And the M4A1S of Kreaz to close that one out. 5-4. Finest take the lead. Not without their own difficulties though. As they lose 3 players in the round, Neo, and give away a bomb plant, which does wonders for that ECSTATIC economy, as you can see.
Yeah, but by the skin of their teeth. Making it a 5th on the board, and of course regaining that lead. But as you mentioned, the ECSTATIC economy is looking absolutely fruitful. They're going to be able to buy for this round and the next to come with absolutely relative ease, no matter the outcome. So they're a bit more of a confident space. Where for Finest, not exactly the same. Despite them winning that round, the long-term economy is still in a very, very dicey spot. They lose round number 10 here. They're back to an eco, which is a horrible scenario for them to be in with their recent momentum.
Nade's doing some tickle damage to Kreaz. His one in response. Of similar effect of the previous 2. ECSTATIC, I think, respecting that Finest love this early ramp control, right? They're not giving anything away too much. They don't want to be running the risk too early on. They're simply showing the presence, throwing some utility, trying to auction back some of that control from Finest. And you can see, actually, it's kind of worked here because Finest have played super passive. They don't want to risk maybe running into some of these EcstATIC players and giving up the early lead.
Yeah, tempo definitely slowed down. Gotta say, for now, though, EcstATIC don't need to do anything too overzealous. They just need to figure out this information of how Finest are setting up. Molly will come through to try and deny a bit of presence. Bit of a spread going to come through. They're doubling back towards mid. They could be tempted with this A split going through that mid position.
And Arquez holding it with the AWP. Who's going to be the first walk into him? It's the bomb carrier of Mankz. 40 seconds. The molly to slow them down even further. EcstATIC now have to look elsewhere. And Cabbi's advanced position on ramp would be the call. Queenix with one, tapping away. Cabbi finding the second. And actually, EcstATIC rewarded with a man advantage here.
Yeah, now they're holding weight. Flash over. Zanikis just wants to give a little bit of space over towards that B side. No one over there, though. The Molotov in towards Tetris does force FNSTPlesseN away. Time is ticking. There's 15 seconds. And it's dwindling for them. As one more goes the way of the Orbs to reply. Queenix one more, though.
Oh, Breezer through the wall as well. Very narrow on time. And I mean, it was a matter of, what, 7-8 seconds. EcstATIC still get it done anyways. 5-all. Finest economy broken. And this map already a lot closer than I think most people would have envisioned at home. As even as it gets heading into round 11. They split down the middle, but Finest with lesser weaponry. A chance for EcstATIC to bolster a pretty good advantage here and to establish some control and take the lead of Vertigo.
A possibility of it. And of course, for Finest, not looking too fruitful in terms of the bank right now. FNSTPlesseN taking significant damage for that. Smoke plumes and the nade following suit leaves him starting this round with 16 points of HP.
Hear the spams of the Deagles, and that kind of gives away the plans of EcstATIC here. Or rather of Finest, that they have pistols. EcstATIC's plan, I mean, still very much in the making. Still patiently waiting for someone to make a wrong move. That is a very cool Molotov. I'm guessing lands top middle. Finest don't care about the utility. They want to try and take the fight face on. Kreaz with the first kill. It's Kreaz, in fact, with two. What was that from Cabbi? Through the wall to make it 3. Might even be able to find 4 here. He's going to be sandwiched out, and for that, Twist will be rewarded with a frag. A 2 versus 2. Finest have made things work here on the force buy.
Somehow, with not of an investment at all, just the hand cannons, but the bombs make his way over towards B. He'll get a free plant to see the aggressive post bar set up with Kraghen. He's inviting the pressure to try and cut off those rotations. This could work a treat. Not even Queenix in towards stairs. Denies that rotation coming through, and there's where Kraghen comes alive. First, looking for 2, won't find it as Kreaz. 12 points of HP, but he trades.
Queenix is going to have heard that step, though, and he thinks he's coming from junk up. Double attacks towards CT. And that'll be that. 6 on the board for EcstATIC. A little bit of disrespect as well at the end there from Queenix. You know, maybe just testing the spray control. You never know. You never know. But
let him know he's there.
I think more importantly, the side effect of losing that round for Finest is that they're drawn to 5 USPs in this round. They cannot afford to make much of an investment. Kreaz is funding a single flashbang, which I'm guessing is going to be, okay, let's stack up together. 5 players here. I'll throw the flashbang. You guys swing, and let's hope for a couple of kills.
You know, you can't expect too much, to be perfectly honest, for them. This should be a free round for EcstATIC. Push them towards 7. Start to build up a little bit of a repertoire on this T side that they might even be able to continue with a lead in towards their CT. And that's what they're looking for. Flash will come through nice and deep. Won't find anything. They get 1 kill. Probably just a consolation as EcstMankz is easy for 3. Cabbi 1 more as well.
All through the smoke. Breezer spots the shadow, I'm guessing, beneath the $300 piece of utility. That will indeed be EcstATIC that find themselves a 2-round gap. 7-5. EcstATIC lead on their T side. Finest, their response now comes here in round 13. A few to the finish line of the halftime whistle. Kreaz already 15-7. He's having a brilliant game so far on a personal level. But for Finest, I think they need to turn up to 110% here if they want to find themselves out on top.
Yeah, that's for sure. That is for definite. Things aren't looking too fruitful for FNST in terms of how they've lost control of this game a little bit. They had a couple of chances on their CT side to get a stranglehold of it and really run with it, and gonna get a little bit concerned. We'll have to wait and see. Anakin's approach off it towards backside. Labored spray with a free kill on the left, and the smoke will keep him alive.
Yeah, and this buys so much space for FNST to get back into this round. Shox has found the third. It's no single man's efforts. It's a team combination to put ECSTATIC to sleep here in round 13. Breezer and Kraghen in a 2 versus 5. Damage would be good here. They've still got money to invest, so I'm guessing they won't exactly bow out of this round entirely. But I think a save could be something in the back of their minds that they're looking for. Now that the AWP's gone, Kraghen might as well risk it all, and Swiss will have his head off. FNST 6, ECSTATIC 7.
Close game, though. Very, very close game. 1 round in it. And I think it's now this race to see who can get A. Who can go in towards that second half with the lead under their belt. It's not going to be a definite momentum shift there, but at the very least gives the kind of the starting push down the hill. And it may set them up with a little bit of confidence going in towards that pistol round. That's what they're looking for. We'll have to wait and see, as it is a full buy both ways. AWP's in the hands of Anakinz and Breezer. And I feel like whoever wheels them better might take that slight advantage here, especially winning those range fights will be the big factor. Anakin's got a good angle in towards yellow too.
Nicely done. AWP to collect the opening kill. Kreaz has a little bit of a trade-off with Breezer, but the HE will set him down to 3/4. The AWP definitely will finish the job though, Neo. Bullet lands easy as, and Arquez claims his second. More importantly, finds in a 5 versus 3. Feels like a little bit of irreversible action now for ECSTATIC. Fighting from the lower hand. And with no money in their back pocket, they need to make heroics out of these remaining weapons.
Yeah, that's for sure. One more added. It's Kraghen all 4, and I think this more or less puts the nail in the coffin in this round. Oh, and that would definitely will do it. Cabbi falling, leaves Queenix all alone. Lock in hand. Tries to salvage himself an AWP, but he gets met by the green of Anakinz, as FNST will tie this game up. And of course, most importantly, they decimate the economy over towards ECSTATIC. They're now entering into the 15th and final in a horrible 4 situation where they have to try and salvage any sort of success in towards this 15th and final. And you can see why they've called for attack. I mean, this is a horrible buy for them coming in towards this next. They opt for the full Mac 10 to try and play aggressive. They try and go in towards a Galil or a Scout and try and play time, get a bit of fortune. A tough conversation they're having heading into the final round of this half. And of course, as you mentioned, it was that race to 8, and FNST look well in the lead right now.
I mean, the buy is going to be difficult for ECSTATIC no matter the scenario, isn't it? So, definitely is going to be a bit tricky. I do believe this is a technical pause. Oh, maybe not. I saw the number, the little counter of the seconds left of a round flickering. So I thought, was that the giveaway? I'm wrong.
Oh, yeah.
ESEA has their own plans. Just as a bit of an update across the board as well, second round of qualifiers go live. Lost Kaguto's currently 7-0 up against RCL. Eternal 5 versus Gamer Legion's pretty close. Sangal 14-1 at the first half. Heat versus Rigechi just kicking off, and B8 are currently 3-1 up against Avangard. So, you know, pretty fun games across the board. Make sure to go and have a watch of other streams. Get an idea, because at the end of today, we will be guaranteeing 4 teams introduced to a trip to Malta, and furthermore playing, of course, for those RMRs. Plessen, he's going to try and kick things off on the right foot for FNST to get the sunny trip away. For Shox, he's found a second, and for FNST, as you said, what has looked pretty good already, I think the odds only ever improve. Kraghen, 1 point of health, but a 5 versus 3, FNST looking pretty good for 8.
Looking for it. As Cabbi falls, it leaves Kraghen on 1 point of HP, Breezer and an Eagle to try and salvage some success and fortune into round number 15. And this one is looking more or less done. FNST, a couple of steps away from that finish line of the 8th round in the half. Before that second leg starts in the second half. Plessen will find 1. Kraghen does get himself 1 at the very least with his 1 point of HP, but he'll be dropped sooner and more than later. Plessen, 3 kills to his name. FNST go into the half with an ever so slight lead. 8-7, but a very, very even showing for these two sides.
Now, does your prediction change a bit, maybe? Seeing that ECSTATIC now on the CT side, holding their own, Do you think that maybe they have a chance of winning this map, or do you still think Finest have this one under wraps? Because if I'm honest with you, Neil, I'm kind of second guessing myself on the Finest pick.
I'm gonna stay true. I think Finest so far still have the slight edge for me, but I think, to be perfectly honest, this pistol round decides a lot. That decided to sort of dictate a lot of that early momentum in towards that first half, and I think the same will be said in towards the second pistol round.
Let's see the brutality of the half time, where everyone just gets to shoot each other. Do enjoy it. Calm brought back to the server. Second pistol going to be underway in just a few moments from now, Neo. EcstATIC on the CT side. Finest double util investment. EcstMankz bringing forward Smoke, Flash, HE. The other three, half Kevlar. And for that, I think EcstATIC, I don't know, they could get absolutely ruined with an execute here. But at the same time, if they're to kill the right players, Kreaz and Twist maybe get a little bit too aggressive and put the wrong foot in the wrong direction. You could lose out on a very integral part to Finest winning this round. So those utility players act as the VIPs for Finest here in the second pistol.
Yeah, it's a double dually set up for EcstATIC. You see the Danish side's really liking and favouring those dualies. And, well, to be fair to them, they've made it work. Finest kickstart things brilliantly. Annika's looking for two, though. Can he find it? Yes, of course he can. Twist one more. And this pistol round looking like it's going only one way.
I mean, they didn't even use the utility that I thought they were going to... Oh! Bring forward. Kraghen doesn't matter if there's a smoke there. That's a brilliant shot. Nice one from shots, excuse me. The response is looking pretty good. Kreaz through the smoke with the last. And it is indeed Finest with a 9th. My God, that shot was ridiculous, though. Kraghen bringing 2 kills from nothing. But ultimately, EcstATIC now, the gap enlarged to 2. And more importantly, do not get the leg up to begin this second half.
Yeah, things started very, very quick. That Annika's double, massive in terms of offloading a little bit of the pressure in that round. Kreaz following up to Twist as well, having a say. I mean, we started to see, again, this Finest emphatic that we know that they can bring, right? Really quick, aggressive, good at closing down space. And exactly what we see. 2-round lead that they've built up. Tech pause to be called in, and you'd probably assume this is coming from EcstATIC. They themselves know they're in a very, very dire state where they want to try and deny this one getting out of their hands, deny the snowball effect from Finest starting to take place. And I gotta say, that's easier said than done. For Finest, they're gonna have a nice comfortable buy heading in towards the second round of the second half, where you see an AK brought out, double Mac 10, double Galil, bit of util too, where for EcstATIC, not much of an investment, if anything.
No need to have an investment, right? Because they get a full buy in the next if they're to save all their money here. And so, a smart decision to be made. Let's see what they've got in store for us, though, here. Round 17. I'm wondering if those SMGs are going to go out first, because that would be more than ideal. Finest collecting maximum dollar on a round that they invest so much in. For EcstATIC, any damage here is good, because that brings Finest a little bit closer back down to planet Earth. As, of course, they have a serious advantage in this round. Twist! Oh, it's a brilliant one for the Galil. Is eventually dropped. Shots to try and take his place and look for more. 4 versus 2. Finest have the A site. Bomb's going to make its way across. But I think Finest want them all dead here, giving them no chance and profiting in a pretty decent way. The Galils do find them. Mac 10s don't really find much, Neo. But it is indeed all 5 kills, $1,500 richer, and Finest indeed 3 rounds ahead now.
Precisely. Bit of money in the bank, that's all that matters for Finest, and that's around. They know that there was no world, no hope that EcstATIC going to find any success there. That was just kind of a couple of cannon fodder seconds before we get into the real meat and potatoes of it, which is now. Now, of course, we look towards EcstATIC picking up a full buy of their own against what is just a bonus for Finest. So fortune takes a different turn. EcstATIC are the favorites in this round specifically.
The leverage of EcstATIC very much lies in this round. They win this one, then they're back on the board. At the same time, Twist has kicked things off on the right foot. Mac 10 catching Cabbi off guard. Decent response, at least collected through the smoke by Manx. But that only gives Twist an upgrade now to an AK-47. And in a 4v4, EcstATIC will be none the wiser as to the plans of Finest.
4 versus 4. And for Finest, it's all about slowing down the tempo now. Kind of wait for the mistakes and wait for EcstATIC to overextend. And speaking of, there's a big wrap coming through. Kreaz has been spotted, dinked, and that's information on the bomb too.
Yeah, Finest are going to be in difficult water as well because they don't know if there's been a B push. They don't know if someone's gone aggressive, if an Arcus has come through B or through middle because they don't have information on either. Breeze are going to be forced away with the molly. 45 seconds left. I mean, EcstATIC have gambled 3 on A, and you can only expect some sort of response here for the EcstATIC boys. Through the smoke, Breezer lines them up, shuts them down. Heads are rolling out on ramp. And unfortunately for Finest, I don't think there's any way that they're winning this round now. With 30 seconds left, EcstATIC 4 on 2.
Bomb trying to make his way down, but both posted up in towards the sandbags. They are struggling to even get on towards the site. Now, they just about have a little bit of space. You can see Twist leading the helm too, because Kreaz is so low on HP.
Pushing forward. Actually, that gives space for Kreaz maybe to set the bomb down. Opted for a tap and not a stick, and for that he will be punished. 8-10. EcstATIC back on the board. EcstATIC back in this game maybe. Still a little bit of time to make up for it here though, EcstATIC. 2-round deficit. And their fight for survival still very much at stake. Pistols against rifles, though. Finest take an eco to give themselves a bit of breathing room and ultimately more cash that they can work with. Heading into round 20.
Information heard as well, Breezer. Sound cues gained, doesn't matter, his aim's locked in as Atticus will fall. These pistols already being pulled apart. Damage down towards PlesseN and Kreaz too.
All sorts of spam coming out with those pistols so far. Being the man down, you can kind of expect it, right? Finest is trying to get a little bit of RNG on their side. Nicely done for Twist as he finds a first. Knows that Manx is actually stuck in the sandbags. They're giving him time to reload that AK though, and this is where things can get a little more dangerous. Kraghen right kicks a flash, doesn't actually work out for him. Shocks, creeps through the smoke, finds the first, picks up the AK, and actually finds not in a bad spot to get themselves a little bit of an advantage in this round and a little bit more damage done to that EcstATIC economy.
A decent position at the very least. They're very, very cautious of the flank coming through or kind of trying to salvage that bomb, right? That's the biggest thing. They're so cautious of losing all this control. Twist going to take a bit of a pop shot too. Not too much to be found for the time being. 4 points of HP is a tough scope to work within. Kraghen wants to reface.
4 versus 3. 25 seconds left though, so time is going to be a bit of an issue. A left side smoke chucked in, and that actually gives Finest a pretty good passageway towards A. That bomb's just going to leg it towards the site, try and punch in the digits. And the Hail Mary round, what looked like at the beginning here for Finest, could actually go their way. As you can see, the bomb moves forward, try and get that one set down, trying to get the wall bang off. Kreaz will indeed set it down. Kreaz, what a shot through the smoke, or rather through the flick. Tries to get a second through the smoke. And EcstATIC, they've got a retake. Breezer with the kit. Queenix will be the arms for the retake. Shots, messy spray, but big damage done. Breezer's low HP will go for a tap, not quite the stick, trying to bait out the peaks of Finest. First kill is for EcstATIC's. Finest trade is there, and Shots with the second. Finest win an eco, and a very integral round goes their way because they've got money, and more importantly, put EcstATIC a peg down.
Yeah, Finest, they have salvaged the round from nothing. The investment, minimal. The thought process, pretty minimal too. Contact towards a ramp, try and win their angels. What do? Exactly that. It's a brilliant eco from Finest. They played it to perfection because all they did was, for the grand scheme of things, play time to their favor. They knew that the rotation is going to be a little bit slow. They were playing off the back of slowing the clock down, so it would kind of make EcstATIC question themselves, and that's exactly what we did see. Really well played. EcstATIC going to call for attack pulls off the back of it because Finest have managed to bolster this momentum ahead of them, and they are now really in full force of the snowball effect. And unfortunately for the Danes as well, we speak about minimal investments. They themselves are going to be joining that party. Nothing to be brought too much unless Kraghen wants to do something of a hero buy, and that's what we're seeing. Queenix and Kraghen going for a hero double rifle setup supported by upgraded pistols. This is high risk, Ryan.
I mean, you can't not, can you? I do believe they're on single round loss bonus, right? So
yeah. They may as well.
Gotta try something, I'm guessing, here for the CTs. But as you said, if they lose this round, it puts them at greater risk of losing this map and in turn lose their slot in the qualifier. As you said earlier on, we've still got a best of 3 to play to guarantee a space in that close qualifier. The losers of it still get a shot at 5th place, but you've got to win a lot more Counter-Strike. You want to get it done in that BO3, which is up next after this.
Yep.
Finest, they're 5 rounds away from doing so and making that jump simply to the final 3 hurdles to get them to the main event, to that RMR, which is what every team's hoping for.
No, that's it. Exactly that. They want that trip to Malta. It's lovely and sunny. The weather's looking beautiful. I heard the food's good too. That's where they want to go. And Finest are 5 rounds away from it. ECSTATIC need a big comeback coming through here. Shock's in the hole for the flank, but they're going for a contact play with us ramp once again. And the rotation needs to come forward.
Flash coming in. PlesseN, he'll find the opening kill. That's one of the pistols gone. But with 35 seconds, Finest have left this one quite late. PlesseN with a second through the smoke. Just an inkling that there would be someone there. Breezer, he's going to be looking to deny. Flashbang goes up top. Goes for the peak. That was a very scary fight to take. Kreaz can't afford to stick around here. If he died, that was the bomb dropped. And I think he realized quite quickly, I should not be peeking that. Breezer eventually taken out. Queenix in a 1v3. That gives space for Kreaz to punch in the digits. First kill is his, but the AWP moves out, and an Arquez will make it a hat-trick. 12-8, 4 from the finish line here, Finest.
Getting close. Getting very, very close indeed, Finest. I think it's just been a case of them on their T side really finding a form of their own where ECSTATIC are starting to lull a little bit. And of course, as you did mention, that was on single loss round bonus, and they forced by. So a similar scenario that we've seen before, that economy not looking too fruitful at all. You see them now, and you'd probably hazard a guess that this is going to be an eco, right? Potentially at the very most picking up deagles into this round. It could go for kind of a 5-7 and a flash buy. If they want to pick up armor, can really only be a PT50. They can't afford to drop too far below that 2k mark, or else they're going to, well, struggle, to be perfectly honest, to salvage anything going forward, right? Because their economy will get out of hand, and we saw that plague the likes of that previous best of 1 that we just saw. Hence why Eyeballers started to get so much of a run against Eternal Fire, because their economy was completely out of control, and ECSTATIC are in the exact same boat.
Pistols, as you said, for ECSTATIC, they take the eco, they suffer the harsh deal of losing the force bite. Any damage here could be good for the Finest side, as they themselves aren't rich, to say the least. Kind of standing on that glass floor once again financially in a difficult spot. Round 6 of the second half. Round 21 overall. Finest could find themselves 3 from the finish line though. If they play their cards right here, it should be smooth sailing to get themselves to, of course, that all-elusive 13. Brilliant shot from an Arquez. You see mere pixels through the yellow tarpaulin on the right-hand side of your screens. He uses it and abuses it. A wallbang headshot will deliver the 5v4.
Of course, now it's numbers in favor of Finest. The buy too, as you mentioned, the investment is always going to be minimal, and it is showing to unfortunately not be able to put up too much of a scratch to that surface. For Finest, this is looking like easy pickings. Again, the default hit of the A site is looking very comfortable. Swing coming through though. Deagle has to be whipped out, and Anakiz and Shock's one apiece, but Kraghen and Manx combined too. Kreaz in for the trade, leaves Kraghen all alone.
The HE won't do much. He's pushed up close lane, but his position compromised. Kreaz will get a team kill, so doesn't quite add to the tally of kills, but definitely adds to the tally of Finest. 3 from the Sweet 16. ECSTATIC, they've now got a full buy, and the recovery mission definitely on. They've got to make do with 5 in a row to catch up. It is going to get a little bit difficult here for ECSTATIC, but, I mean, to showcase your CT side, this would be a good time to start.
Yeah, and it has to start now, because a similar scenario that we've seen time and time again, this brutal cycle. This is a full buy for them. Yes, the loss bonus is built up. Lose this, and they're in a rough spot. And Manx is a risky peak, which nearly becomes so costly. Couple of top, pop shots, may I say, coming through. Not going to find their target for the time being. Kreaz got a bit of space towards stairs.
Nade, not all bad. Volley dropped in. Manx, brilliant. Through the smoke. He's able to find the first. A big dent in on that FNST side. It's been smooth sailing for a little while, so nice to see them get humbled, but an Arquez to put them back on the podium. 4 versus 4 as the AWP claims another soul. ECSTATIC, pretty difficult times. Look at the utility. Look at what we have for the post plant, Neo. It's a single kit between 4 of them. Finest, one correct move, and ECSTATIC will probably be on their bikes to save.
No, that's it, right? I mean, I think it gets to a case of the numbers advantage goes in favor of Finest. If they get a bit of space over towards A, they have to go for a save call here. And if they go for a quick hit and the rotation doesn't come quick enough, ECSTATIC might have to go for the early save either way.
Kreaz takes the head off of Manx. He gets a bit aggressive, and that gives up the level state that we were in. Breezer now has to go huge. No one clears gap, and Breezer will punish Twist with the AWP. 18 seconds left. They've got to plant the bomb. They bait the AWP back in, and they do, in fact, find the kill. They need to set the digits in, and that they will attempt. Anarquez gets dropped. The bomb plants are gone, but Kreaz in the 1v2, and he's good for the first. Knows where the second man is. Kraghen making all the noise. Kreaz waits as he swings out. Good damage. He knows where Kraghen is, and he knows that he's tagged up, but the HP prevails for Kraghen, and it is indeed a ninth on the board for ECSTATIC.
That's really nice. In the 1 versus 1 as well. Really, really well played. We'll go pick ourselves up an AWP as well, just as the cherry on top. And ECSTATIC keep this dream alive. Of course, the concerning thing ever so slightly is the buy is going to be a little bit dicey in towards next regardless, because 4 out of 5 fall. And for Fighters, that's a silver lining they can take. That's the slight positivity they can take from losing that round, is the fact that they got the vast majority of kills coming through. You look towards ECSTATIC, yes, the AWP dropped across, and a full-ish buy can come through. The thing they will lack is going to be utility. That's going to be the awkward thing for ECSTATIC. If they lose a site, a retake becomes difficult because of the lack of utility. Denying presence in map control also going to become difficulty because they won't have the utility to work with. But Finest, not going to be an issue. They're going to have an absolutely brilliant full buy. They will be able to have a whole host of utilities to work with. So, generally speaking, not too much of an issue. Just to run through some of the scores that are going on right now as well. Los Kagutas at half, 13-2 up against RCL. Fancy being 1 pin, 3-1 right now. Eternal Fire 12-7 up against Gamer Legion. Sangal have beat Budapest 5 16-9. Namigo winning 9-7 against Entropic. Heat winning 7-2 against Grogetchi. And finally, B8 are beating a Vanguard 10-5.
Crazy. Taking shots. Both teams trading quite early on. Cabbi, 32 points of health remaining. Nice shot, Manx. Takes the head of FNSTPlesseN clean off. 5 versus 4 in favour of ECSTATIC. It's been a very slow tone and a bit of a dull mood from us in this round. How important this is for both sides, and for ECSTATIC to steal away a man advantage is good, but that is a great response from Twist, and he even gets the information on a second.
Yeah, it's a good angle. Gives him a free kill. Doesn't even take a point of damage. That's exactly what he's looking for. Queen can double back. Find some timing and shocks will fall. And that will drop a smoke towards front sight, which denies his control.
Cabbi, he's going to be the first to arrive on the B site to assist his teammate of Queenix. 3 players left. Twist lobs the nade in. Good damage done. Queenix set down to 55. The molly not going to be used, though. For Kreaz, he's going to need to check this angle manually. First kill is his. Second for Kreaz as well. What an opener. Spots out the M4 of Manx, but Breezer's got it covered. It's now an Arquez in a 1v2, and the AWP Breezer claims the second. It's ECSTATIC double digits. It's ECSTATIC back in the map. And more importantly, Finest, money looking low.
Money is looking a little bit dire over towards that T side. ECSTATIC needed a bit of positivity just to push them across the edge, just to kind of, I guess, start what potentially could be a comeback. And here it is. Here it is now where things are looking a lot better for them. The Finest They're actually just going to go for a full eco. Full Glocks, no armor, no utility apart from that one P250 in the hands of Twist. They are going for the most minimal investment. The priority is a bomb plant, but getting there is going to be nigh on impossible.
I mean, you're hoping that there's going to be some profit from this round of Finest, even if it is that single kill. Definitely would mean a lot to them. Very slow round for Finest here. I think they're just trying to draw out the utility of ECSTATIC because they know that'll be a big vocal point for them. Money low for the CT side as well. And this, well, not the worst scenario to be in here for ECSTATIC. Talk about getting back in the game. They really have settled the tone and worked on extrapolating as much as they can here. Didn't come in out. Queenix with one. A second. Could be a third. Kraghen bails him out of harm's way. USP just has to find a headshot. And that it will. ECSTATIC close the gap to 2. 13-11.
Getting close, going down to the wire. We couldn't even see this one go the full distance. These two sides, for the time being, seem inseparable. But, of course, the buy is going to be full. We see a quick pause coming through. And, of course, these tack pauses, it's good to see as well that we're seeing quite a lot of tack pauses. We know how important these games are, how important each and every round is, each little bit of momentum that changes hands. Thankfully, we're seeing these tack pauses come through. Because sometimes you see teams, you know, they lose control of momentum, they lose control of the game. What do? They just allow the game to continue playing on, allow their opposition to just run. And as they try and roll with the punches, and it very, very, very rarely works. It's a good way to play it nonetheless. Well, 13-11. Finals still hold a 2-round lead. They're 3 rounds away from, of course, seeing out this best of one and pushing themselves within one last hurdle of qualifying for the RMRs. But of course, it's still a long road, and ECSTATIC, they're hot on their tails.
Things definitely are heating up here, aren't they?
Mm-hmm.
Does get very scary. Impact here that this very round has does get very, very interesting. Bit of a tech pause by the looks of things, Neo. We are, you know, expecting a 30-second breather. Not exactly going to get that. Feels like we're going to have to wait a little bit longer before we get back into the action here. So far, though, I've been pleasantly surprised by ECSTATIC CT side. They've shown a lot of mettle, I feel like, in a scenario as well that I think not only us, but a lot of people at home would have just mopped out and just said, nah, you're done.
Yeah, I think it's a bit of a concerning situation, both sides. And also as well, like, one thing I want to highlight is kind of how, for Finest, a lot of their success is coming from individuals. I think for me, you know, for Kreaz, if he has a bit of a slow round, they struggle. Anika's, if he's not finding an opening kill that AWP, again, they struggle to find success. Not to kind of dampen the mood of the other 3, but they haven't been as impactful or as consistently impactful as the likes of Anika's and Kreaz, where you look over towards ECSTATIC and it's a little bit more of a rounder performance. Yes, CSGO is lagging behind ever so slightly, may I say, but generally speaking, very even. The differential isn't as bad, which is potentially why they're starting to mount somewhat of a comeback. Hoping for this tech pause to be done ASAP so we can get back in towards the game, but unfortunately for you lovely gentlemen and ladies at home, we have absolutely no information. Ah, there we go. Lovely.
We do now, mate. We have information that we'll be getting back into things. No worries at all. 13-11, ladies and gentlemen. The home stretch for both sides. For Finest, a little bit of an easier task than that of the flip side. ECSTATIC have got a little bit more work to do, but there's no denying that there is a chance that they can make things happen here, Neo. All boils down to the last few. Round 25. ECSTATIC trail by only 2.
That's it. Now, of course, in towards mid. Bit of pressure kind of gone forward. That utility from Shox to buy him some space. Might want to take a bit of an aggressive start. Speaking of, CSGO overextends. He pays the price.
Yeah, going in on his own was always going to be a scary one. The fact that Finest punished so much. Miss flashbang. FNSTPlesseN going to block it out. Just take a bit of damage here to the spam of Manx. In the meantime, Kraghen goes aggressive here on middle. Shox caught off, but an Arkez's AWP keeps things in favor of Finest.
Well, at the very least, Finest keep the numbers, as you mentioned. Now, of course, can they just play the numbers game? Can they just play the trade? The rotations come through. Anika's got a bit of space to work with. After the smoke dissipate, he's in such a good angle to deny that rotation in towards the side. Bomb goes down. Post one trying to be set up, and now they can start to build some space between them and the CT side.
Oh, great shot from an Arquez. Kraghen looking for the response. It's pretty okay. Some big damage done. Problem is, they're going to need to make a big impact in this 2-on-4. Great shot from Queenix, but Kreaz's trades there. Finest, they make it 14. More importantly, to survive. And ECSTATIC's money starts to dwindle because Breezer and Manx and Cabbi, in fact, all below $4,000.
Yeah, that's a great shot as well. Double there from Kreaz. Needed someone to step up. And of course, it was those two that we highlighted who stepped up. Anika's finding one to deny that rotation coming through. Kreaz finding a double again to deny ECSTATIC any space towards that site. It's the simple thing of those two consistently having great performances, which is sort of tooth and nail pulling Finest across the line. And of course, for ECSTATIC, we are going to see a pause call from them as, yeah, I mean, they are in a little bit of a dicey spot. Finest are 2 rounds away of moving on towards the best of threes, where ECSTATIC, they're lagging behind. And I got to say, that pressure starts to become insurmountable. You got to remember, this is still such a young squad.
So many timeouts being burnt away here, Neo. Neither team wants to be the ones to make the mistake. Finest are so close to making their dreams into reality. To get that single step closer to that qualification to the RMRs for a trip to Malta. And proving the grind definitely will pay off. Last time we saw a result like this one was their run in the Pinnacle Cup Championship. I think back then when they made playoffs, definitely was a big plus for them. It has been a lumpy road since then. This time, they're hungry for it. 3 looks to be their golden number. And Arquez to find the early round, or rather the early man up in this round. 14-11 the scoreline, and they are desperate for 15. Unfortunately dropped. The AWP dropped over to PlesseN. And well, what is the natural AWPer with a rifle? Cannot convert a second. 4v4, but that's where Twist comes in. He's going to try and find it. Cabbi low HP, yes indeed. Twist through the top all-in will be able to respond, but Manx with one of his own, 3 versus 3.
Yeah, numbers kept the same, but the HP isn't looking too fruitful over towards Finest right now. And of course, the decision has to be made. Queenix goes aggro, and he finds Kreaz. That's information to him, what they're trying to achieve here now.
How good does this look? Shocks Twist. 2 versus 3. A lot of work to do here. Shocks has got really good timing on B. Queenix, I think he knows about it though. I think he'll understand that they could be. It's all about timing, and Shocks has it. Twist can now go and plant the bomb. A 2 versus 2, a vacant B site, and 40 seconds for ECSTATIC to kill 2 and get a defuse. No kit between them as well.
Setting off that stairs post plant. Will they be expecting of that quick rotation coming through? Stairs is the vulnerable part, but Kraken's on towards site. In fact, might be tempted to tap it and bait and switch. Manx is buying some time. Finds one. Looking for 2 and he delivers. The FAMAS outdoes the AK-47s, and ECSTATIC stay alive in this game. At the very least, they're up to 12, within 2 of catching up to Finest.
That was really, really impressive. The fact that Manx is able to get 2 of the FAMAS there, both in the post plant.
Yeah.
Don't think they'll ever estimate how valuable that round win is there for them. Finest money on the OP side. They'll have to take an eco for ECSTATIC. I mean, if they lose, their money's done for, and they will have no chance back in this game. So to win that, a massive impression and a massive dent made. Finest 14, ECSTATIC 12 into the final few breaths, at least of regulation here on Vertigo. But Finest looking to concede a 13th as they themselves on an eco.
That's it. P250s for the most part. A couple of Eagles. Small amount of utility. Again, it's one of those rounds where that priority is getting a bomb down, but it's very unlikely. Not impossible, but improbable, as Manx will find the first.
Pretty solid stuff. Cabbi finds the first. Kreaz, decent trade. But ultimately, it will be a round in favor of EcstATIC. doing a lot of the heavy lifting again here. As that is a pretty comfy 13th here for EcstATIC. Doing all the damage. Finest, they've got an investment. Let's see what they're capable of. 14-13. Down to the wire.
And a pause to come through as well. Attack pauses, as you mentioned, being burned. I'm thinking I'm right in saying this is the last. This is 4 or 4 from both sides. I think they've had 8 now. I think. It's 7 or 8.
Maybe one of them was a tech, right? So.
Oh, true. Very true. Yeah.
Maybe
you can't tell.
Maybe there is one pause lurking, but who knows, man? Who knows?
Yeah.
Either way,
I've got to shout out Manx as well. I mean, what a game he's having.
Yeah.
I think he's. We said about like an individual stepping up. You know, of course, you look towards Anakiz and Kreaz as being the 2 highlights over towards finest. But I mean, Manx has been brilliant, very, very solid on towards the CT side and consistent too.
So, timeout over. Back into the action. Wondering at this point in time how desperate Finest are to just unsettle the nerves once again here for EcstATIC, because they've been pretty comfy on their CT side. Let's see what they're capable of. Nade doing decent damage. Kreaz half health to begin with already, Neo. Not the most ideal of starts. Will indeed lob a molly in just to clear out the close angle.
Well, they got comfortability over wood. Still towards ramp. It's a little bit dicey over there. Bit of util to come through. Pless needs to be careful of the spam. He'll drop a nade as well. Won't really cause too much of an issue. Finest taking the initial brunt of damage. All 5 still remain alive from both sides.
Hearing all this spam. Twist. Oh, good timing. Able to take down Manx. He's been a very, very valuable piece of silverware to the collection for EcstATIC in this best of 1 so far. To see him drop early doors doesn't exactly fuel the flames of Cabbi or of EcstATIC just yet. Cabbi, really nice damage. 1 and a dink on an Arquez. Puts things down to the 3 versus 3. Molly going to be forcing Kraghen back out, but ultimately, where's Kreaz for the bomb plant here? They're going to have to wait even further to get that C4 set down.
Yeah, the utility starting to dissipate too. And Molly on towards default denies the timing of getting a quick plant through, getting a quick post plant set up. And now, of course, they have to reset. And what is their decision here? They've lost control of the site, which we're all too aware of. Kraghen for 1. Make that 2. That's the bomb. Plessen left all alone. And this round's done. EcstATIC to tie this game up momentarily.
Breeze up. He will indeed find the last 14 all. EcstATIC. Same as Finest. 2 rounds away from knocking the other one out. And it's another pause, Neo. My God, are we clutching at straws here for both sides.
Yeah, this has got OT written all over it. These 2 sides, inseparable. I mean, what a performance both of these are having. Fantastic, fantastic stuff. And, well, I think for Finest, it's probably safe to say that the pause is coming from their end. Because look at what the buy is. If they go for a force here, I think this is throwing the round, throwing the game. They've got to go for surely a low buy, an eco, and, yeah, play for OT. I just can't see them playing for a win here because surely they can't. What are they going to muster up with? Like 3k over the board. Galil's armor, a bit of utility. Brutal. Mac 10 full armor and a full utility, still not good enough.
Definitely going to be looking for the eco here. And Arquez goes for Tech 9 half armor. That gives it all away. 28 kills on Kreaz, 26 on an Arquez. And to think that might not be enough. Finest in pretty troubled water here. Feel like this pause has gone on for way too long, so maybe it's something technical rather than tactical. Who knows? As of right now, who knows?
Big question, isn't it? Who knows? I'll have to wait and see. Good game so far, though. It's got to be said. 14 apiece. Does have OT written all over it, but it's very dependent on how Finest conduct themselves. I think they're never going to struggle in terms of economy for the rest of regulation at the very least, so that's not a worry on their mind. We do have a bit of a tech pause coming through, though. Second one we've had today. Hopefully not too much of an issue. I mean, get back underway, but I guess it's a a good opportunity to check in with some of our other games. So as you mentioned, Los Cagudos, they've already made their way through, 16-2, brilliant from them. Fancy, 7-5 up against one pin right now. Eternal Fire, they're 13-11 up against Gamer Legion. Sangal took down Budapest 5, 16-9. Entropic are beating Namiga 12-11, so they've come back. Heat still winning against Rogetchi 11-6. And finally, B8 or Bates are 15-8 against Avangos. They are one round away from getting to their best of 3 stage.
If I'm not mistaken, that game is now over.
Is it? Is it Bait taking it?
Yes, it is indeed. B8 have taken the map, and in terms of, well, the qualifier as well, Avangar out. As we said a second ago, Sangal beating Budapest 5. Entropic versus Namiga, that is a close game. It was probably the only other one we were going to watch, if anything, right? So,
yeah.
Nice to see that we've gone the right way. Entropic looked to be winning a 14th, and Namiga currently on a half by. So, yeah, very, very difficult. No doubt about it here. Teams realizing the brutality, it feels like, of this stage. Like, how intense it is. Every best of one that matters so much here. For us, best of one that is probably the closest of the lot. 14 all. Tech Pause still very much in full force here. Everyone seems to be moving on the side of EcstATIC, so I'm wondering if things are going to be cleared up very shortly and we're going to get back underway.
Yeah, hopefully, right? We can hope and wait. I mean, it seems to be like EcstATIC look all right, as you mentioned. I think this must be an issue over towards Finest. You know, for them, they've got a minimal buy, a tough situation, and of course, they've got tech issues on top of that as well. Pretty brutal, to say the least. It's not exactly where they want to be at all. We'll have to wait and see either way, and hopefully, there we go. Tech Pause done and dusted, ladies and gentlemen. We get back underway in towards this game. It's 14 apiece. But for Finest, it is a low buy heading into the penultimate round of the half and potentially even the game. Unless they can pull off something miraculous, they've got just pistols to work with.
It's a pretty steep investment made as well by the T side of Finest. You know, 1.2k on Shox, 1.3k on Kreaz, 1.4k on FNSTPlesseN. They have got the 4-round loss bonus, so maximum dollar. Maximum outcome, though, here for EcstMankz will find the third. Kreaz, decent response. HE lobbed in. Kraghen will do a little bit extra onto Kreaz, but ultimately it wasn't going to change the outcome of this round in any regard. Kraghen, in fact, will find the last. Breezer mop things up as well. EcstATIC 15, Finest 14. Map point, but this is a full investment for Finest. They wanted to take it to OT. That was their plan. Will it pay off?
Yeah, and sort of what a comeback from EcstATIC as well. The way things were playing out for them, it was looking like Finest had this one in the bag. It looked like they were hammering in those nails into the coffin and they were walking to those best of 3 stages. But EcstATIC from the brink of turning this one around, and you got to give them the credit. Of course, we predicted Finest coming in towards this one, and I mean, I gotta say, this has been a great showing from them. Now, Breeze is looking, or he's trying to hear for some information underneath. Not going to spot out too much so far as he repeats in towards mid. You mentioned Finest full investment. Can they convert it? Not a great start.
Hold on. Twister's found another. So it is a 4 versus 4. EcstATIC going to be double backing here. Kreaz has got some B presence, Neo. But ultimately, we're going to be very reliant on the B play here. Queenix. Smoke line up. That's actually going to force him, at least towards middle, to have a little bit of a check as Finest group up towards B. Things are getting scary, Neo, because we are down to the wire. We are into the last dying moments of regulation. Twist with the bomb in his back pocket. Finest, they're going to want to make their way towards B. Util would have been heard. Queenix knows what's up. What has he got in store for us? First bit of information collected. We'll know of at least a couple. That molly forcing him further away. We'll have to drop back, and for that, the bomb will be planted. First engagement might be Kreaz, but from where? CT, jump up, lots of angles to clear. Flashbang's looking pretty good. Kraghen, he has himself the first. The second flashbang lobbed in, and that's going to force the players out. Nice first shot. Decent job from Mankz, and that double might seal the fate. Indeed it will. EcstATIC 16, Finest 14, an upset of a lifetime, and that gives EcstATIC one step closer to qualifying to Malta. They have themselves the best of 3 to go, but that is that. What a mapper Counter-Strike we've just been treated to. And what a recovery from ECSTATIC. I said I was a little bit nervous,
Exactly.
Neo. And I mean,
I was.
clearly I had every right to be because they won the game in fact.
Yeah, I mean, what a performance. Generally speaking, that was a stupendous turnaround from ECSTATIC, because I think it's safe to say for a vast majority of that game,